we begin our partner work, I have to explain the difference between, first, the 3 ranges of punching with the rear hand, and the difference between a lunge punch versus a rear punch, okay? Let's start with the easier topic, the 3 ranges for a rear hand. So if we're not fighting stance, etc. wise, let's talk about the extension first. Starting from longest range to middle range to shortest range. Okay, we're here, number 1. If I twist out, this is the longest range my punch is going to be able to have. I could lean in like a lot of boxers do, but the problem is you start to lose balance. Okay, if you give your partner that balance, you've given him a throw. So, 1, but this hand is up here protecting. Okay, hitting with the 2 knuckles. This is our reverse punch. It comes in, twists at the very end. Notice back heels up. So you are having that same body mechanics as a boxer, but it changes for more of a karate hip movement. Okay, so we have reverse punch all the way through. Vertical punch, what we talked about last week. Notice it's not as far. It is middle range, essentially, unless you're using like a jab or a cross or a chain punching, which we did last month or 2 lessons ago. So we have 1, 2, a little bit closer. 1, reverse, 2, vertical. Now, let's talk about the third one. Short. Notice it is short distance. Its elbow is still connected to my body. That means that partner is close in range. So, long distance, middle distance, short distance. All right? Those are the 3 ranges with the rear hand. Now, you do have 2 other ones that I want to point out. Okay? And that is raising up and now attacking diagonally, like an overhead cross, or changing the angle downward at downward diagonal. Okay, like a sugar cane punch that Sugar Ray Leonard used to use. Okay, so those 5 punches are the same punch in different developments. Think like this. Stage 1, short. Stage 2, vertical. Stage 3, reverse. Stage 5, higher dimension. And this is when it's crossing over another person's punch, which we'll show in just a bit. Or, number 5, changing at a diagonal. Okay? So you keep that in mind. Those are 5 reverse punches or 5 rear punches. Okay? Yes, we have rear hooks. Yes, we have rear 45s. But what I'm talking about for punching alignment is it's in a straight linear direction. Okay? Now, let's talk about the lunge punch versus the reverse punch. Okay, most typical lead hand punches you're ever going to use in a straight linear manner, now hooking, we're not talking about that, or 45 is not going to talk about that, are the back fist, okay, or the jab, whether that be a vertical jab or a traditional turning over jab, okay? Those are the typical lead hand punches you're going to use, okay? They're in a linear manner. It's coming in a direct line, okay? So when we're talking about when you see in traditional karate martial arts, and they're having that lunge punch type deal, people misunderstand that. It's not, oh, I'm going to just create that distance and come forward and strike. Or I'm going to attack him by, oh, he's right there. I'm going to step in and do that hard punch. This is one of the things that drove me crazy in Aikido and Aikijitsu. Is because so many people would come with that beautiful Minetsky, and the person would come around and do the beautiful throw and blah, 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 and they keep their hand out here, and they're expecting to keep said hand out there. It doesn't happen. Why on earth would we train like that? That's a problem. So, we have to understand why, if we do step in, why are we stepping in? Okay? One of two reasons. One, I've dealt with a defensive maneuver. There's an opening, but I do need to close that distance. But, you ever see this movement? And then you're striking. Oh, look at that. I blocked. I'm grabbing hold of the person. And then I'm striking. Because I'm putting my weight behind that strike. Okay? But it's because I've already dealt with it in a defensive manner or even an offensive manner, and now changing it for that concept. Okay? Number two is after I've already dealt with them, and it's not just going to be a single-eyed strike, I'm conditioning my body to follow through with all my hip. So for example, one of the techniques you're going to see in this week's lesson, Sayundo, is where you are needing to follow through with the complete hip. Okay? So, those are the two times where you're actually going to use the traditional, if you want to call it traditional lunge punch. Rest of the time, it's going to be either a jab or a back fist. It could be your lead hand punches, as well as your hooks or rich hands and 45s. But those are the circular strikes that we'll talk about in a different lesson. Okay? So keep that in mind. For actual striking wise, combative wise, it's going to be a jab or a back fist for your lead hands. Okay? Only time you're going to use a rear punch or a lunge punch is if you've already dealt with the person and you need to switch stances to complete the technique or the follow-up techniques. Okay? That being said,